Welcome to Giving You More Than Numbers, CASS's business support podcast, your go-to resource for practical business advice and expert insights.
We've spoken lots about how a core accounting system can really help drive a business, not just in its growth, but in its understanding. But actually, alongside an accounting system such as Xero, there are, I'm going to use the word just because I like it, a plethora of apps that support specifics within business. So Xero is fantastic at giving you that high level detail and insight. But as we've all alluded to, other than a few snapshot reports, it's very numbers driven, which is what all accounting software is. But actually, there are now tools, apps in an ecosystem or in an app stack, and talk to your accountant if you want to know some specifics that are either industry driven or take that data that Xero holds in its rawest form and converts that into, I'm going to call them pictorial, something that's a bit more tangible for those non-numbers people. Paul, you're heavily involved in Xero and software in general. What supporting tools would you recommend those business on a growth journey either work with their accountant to implement or that they could take even in standalone mode?
Sure. You touched on it. We've got an app store.
Yeah.
Just like the Apple store, we've got a Xero store. And we currently have over 1,000 apps linked up.
There's an app for everything.
There's an app for everything. And it's brilliant because it just takes Xero to that next level. So, Xero is a great core accounting bookkeeping product and gives you valuable insights and allows you to see the healthy business. But with the apps, so exactly what you said, Paul, it allows you to you can go into it, you can specify what industry you're in, and it will serve up to you a number of apps that complement your industry. You may want something. My favorite of all time, there was an app there that only specific and looks after pet hotels. It's that specific. But to answer your question, there's one piece of advice I could say is that you could easily get lost on the App Store. But if you can get two products that can complement Xero in terms of automation and insights, that's all. I'm just going to put them under those categories. Automate getting all your information in as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
There are tools included with Xero and there are others out there as well. But also in terms of their outputs, Xero is aggregating a lot of data for you. It is serving you up with some valuable insights, but there's some other apps out there which will take that data to another level and allow you to make some great business decisions and help you get to where you need to be.
Fabulous. And let's name drop a couple. So on that automation going in, we as a firm are very heavily entrenched and support Dext as a receipt automation tool. And lately we've been working with Apron, an alternative to Dext, and both do the same. And it's usually around cost and number of users on the input side. On the outputs, we work with Sift. So Sift is a great reporting tool that literally takes that raw data and can not only give you pictorials, but it will actually then help you do almost the what if statements. So if I want to take a new employee on, what does that look like in my forecast? If I increase my revenue by 5% by whatever means, whether that's a price increase or more volume, what does that do to my bottom line? But all on little sliders and very simple data entry. So I agree. 2 points, get the data in, remove human touch points, because that's going to free you up to go and do either more in business or actually enjoy a little bit of family time. And then at the back end, use those pictorials, especially if you're growing and need to present to financiers, investors, because it will just give them greater assurance that you understand your business. And then we mentioned them earlier, but payment tools, both in and out, are now massively important in business.
Yeah, I suppose I want to demystify a few myths with the payment tools, because I think there's a perception in the industry they're quite expensive to use and it takes a It takes a clip of your revenue as such, really. But when we've done research behind it, the cost of having that debt on the shelf versus getting a payment in quicker, it far outweighs that little couple of percent charge for getting that revenue in quicker.
We did the analysis for a client that had just in terms of acquiring payments, had got the terminal, and they were paying for the virtual terminal, and between two of them, they were paying £35 a month, and their average collection on the credit card at that point was about £1,000 a month. Well, actually, the fees on £1,000 a month let's take Stripe as an example. Stripe can vary between 1.6 and 2.9% depending on your charges. Well, you go, actually, I've taken £1,000. It's going to cost me £2.90. I only pay when I use it. So why wouldn't you look to have those automated payment tools, a click on your invoice to go pay now? I haven't got a terminal I'm paying huge amounts of money for. And actually, I'm getting that money in. And if we want to go really to the 8th degree of using something like Stripe connecting to Xero, it automates the payment piece in Xero. So that invoice gets paid off, the fees are handled, and the money just hits your bank account.
Yeah.
So again, looking at those third-party tools. And I think actually, I suppose really to kind of bring the whole sort of KPIs and business support round, technology since COVID has absolutely spiraled, and we've seen like the challenger banks really become key. Xero introduced analytics and analytics plus on the back of COVID, along with a lot of additional support reports. But where do we see financial technology going? And Jackie, shall I hit you first?
Well, all technology, isn't it, Paul?
Yeah.
And financial, of course, will be part of that. AI is there, and it's going at the rate of knots. I was lucky enough to be at a conference with Stephen Bartlett a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about the speed of change in our world now, and in the finances, in business, we have to embrace it. And my advice is, don't be scared of AI. What you have to do is embrace it, because back when the internet came along, Steve Jobs said something along the lines of, the internet won't replace humans, but it'll replace the humans that don't embrace it. Those businesses that didn't embrace the internet, they all died, didn't they, in the early 2000s. The businesses now who don't harness AI in a positive way will just disappear. You've got to, and that's why we've digitized tax now. We've got Xero on our phone. We've got all sorts of things, but we have to embrace it as business owners. We can't shy away.
No.
And there's so much great AI out there. It's not all just ChatGPT. You've got all sorts of zaps that will push information from one place to another. And it's all at our disposal, and it just makes us more efficient. It'll give us our time back, like you say.
I think that's the absolute key with AI. It is about, certainly for us in our business, it's about automating the tasks that release us to add more value to business. And I definitely know that Xero have something that was announced at XeroCon late last year. Just ask Jax. Just ask Xero, which is Xero's interpretation of that ability. In fact, no, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to let Paul just sort of where that next level of tech is coming from in Xero's world.
Yeah, so AI has been around for a while in Xero. There's a lot of
machine learning.
The learning technology rules, etc. That's always been around, but I suppose releasing Jax has put a label on it saying that this is our AI bot. It's released now in its early stages, but the idea of it really is just to release those repetitive, mundane tasks and just provide insights at the drop of a hat, really. So just to get a snapshot of your business really quickly and get really...
Yeah, and the thing that I'm really excited about, and it's probably for trades more than anything with that evolving technology, is the ability on your phone to actually, instead of sitting there typing into your Xero app about raising an invoice or a quote for a customer you've just seen to lay their carpets or supply carpets or whatever it is, you can literally, using Jax, say, please raise a quote to Mrs. Smith of this address. I want this on the quote, and it will raise it and email it, and you've not touched and typed anything. That's where I believe that tech is going to really take us forwards. And finally, before we wrap it up, a dedicated question. We've tried to avoid the questions today, more informational. But Jacquie, we'll start with you. If you could give one piece of financial advice to a business owner looking to scale, what would it be?
It would probably be to ensure that you have moved even a tiny percentage to begin with, some profit into a pot separately.
Yeah.
So that every single time you pay, even if you're just starting out in business, when that first check, I remember when we got our first ever check through, it was a check in the old days. When that first money hits your bank account, even if you only put 1% aside to begin with, get into the good habit of putting that profit away. And as you get better and more customers and you start to grow, raise that percentage from 1% to 2, then 2 to 5, then 5 to 10. Because if you can then start putting away 10%
for things like your tax bills and those
as well as your tax bills, because that profit, that is your reinvestment. That is either your reinvestment into your business, or if you don't need to invest into your business at the moment because your operating expenses are all, your operating cash is there, then that's yours. That's your bonus, isn't it? So I would 100% say, do it from the start, because it's much harder to claw back that profit that appears at the bottom of a spreadsheet. Actually, if you've got it there, it's safe and you don't touch it. If there's time, I'll just tell you a little story from But this is what I saw this from Mike McCallovich, and this is what really made me understand what he was talking about. If you get a tube of toothpaste, when you first get a tube of toothpaste, you pop the toothpaste on, you brush your teeth, you're fine. You do it again, and you go quite, big, nice bit of toothpaste. When it gets to the end of your toothpaste tube, what do? You curl the end up.
Oh, yeah, I want to empty everything out of it.
Yeah, you do. And doesn't that last bit of the toothpaste tube last as long as nearly the whole rest of the tube? Now, think about your bank account like that. Look, think about your operating expenses, your cash as that. Because if you've only got a little bit left at the end of the month, if you've got £990 in your bank instead of 1,000 because you've put that 1% away, you'll manage. You won't go and pull it back. And my piece of advice is take that bit out, get in a good habit of saving your profit, and then use the toothpaste tube until it's really empty. And if you haven't got any, you can't brush your teeth. But those suppliers, they just have to wait a little bit.
Great analogy. And Paul, have you got one piece of advice?
Yeah, I've got two.
Yeah, okay, you can have two.
I've got a head and a heart.
Okay.
So in my heart, I always believe on having a why. In a business, why did you get out of bed in the morning? Why did you set up your business? What drives you? What is that? So that I always believe in having a why. And if you ask somebody once, if you ask someone 3 times, I'll always tell you a different answer from the first and the third. But also, I'm just going to bang the drum about cash flow. Really, just payment solutions. Just have a payment solution. If you're a tradesperson, do your job, send the bill right in front of them. 9 out of 10 times they'll pay you straight.
Yeah, fantastic. And right, before we go, I've just got a little fun one for you, Jacquie. And it's not really fun because I think it's pertinent with what we've chatted about today. But what's the best single business decision you've ever made in your career?
Actually, it's to be a business owner.
Okay.
Because I was a teacher for 20 years.
Oh, wow. Didn't know that.
And much as I love the little darlings, being a business owner, it means it's all down to you. It's all your fault, shall we say.
Yeah.
It's all down to your choices. You have choices. You have, like you just said about the why, you have a choice whether you get out of bed in the morning or you don't. You have a choice whether to work with this customer or not work with this customer. And I think being a business owner in our time is an honour, actually. I think the country that we live in, for all the problems it has and all the moans and groans, as a business owner, you are in control, not Rachel Watson in the government and not Downing Street. At the end of the day, you are in control of your destiny, your family's well-being. And I absolutely say this is a great time to be a business owner. So going into business, that was the best decision I made.
Fantastic. Okay, so are you, as a listener, up for a cash challenge? We want to actively encourage our listeners and viewers. We want to challenge you to implement one KPI tracking tip and share their results. So what are you going to implement going forwards? that wraps up today's episode on planning for business growth with financial KPIs. And I know we've diverted around some of the other challenges that businesses face. A massive thank you to Paul McKay from Xero and Jacquie from Vector Business Coaching for sharing their expertise, and to all of you for tuning in. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a review. It really helps us to reach more growing businesses just like yours. Our next episode will be on your end-of-year accounting and how that's made easy. Tips for getting your records ready. A panel discussion with some fantastic accountants. If you've got any questions or topics you'd love us to cover, please drop us a message on our social media channels or email us at info@cas-online.co.uk. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you next time on Giving You More Than Numbers, CASS's Business Support Podcast.
Thanks for listening to Giving You More Than Numbers. Subscribe for more business insights from Team CASS.